Hi, everybody. This is your girl, Mrs. Pinky, and this is my new show, Mrs. Pinky Thoughts, for today, April 18th, 2021, at 9 p.m. And I'm here with a very special guest, my sister, MrzFryz Art. Hi, girl. I know this is so weird to interview your own family, but I have to get an interview with my own sister. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your art, what you do, and then we'll get into a little bit of our topic for today.
My name is Connie, and I run a business called MrzFryz Art. It's called that because, I'm married, and my last name is Fryz, and I wanted to be a little fancy with the name, so FRYZ, MrzFryz Art. And as you see behind me, there's some of my art. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or anything, you probably just saw this recent photo of DMX I just finished recently. But yeah, that's what I do. I do my art. I do anime. I do pretty much anything. And I like to keep my options open. I like to stay mixing it up.
Can you tell us? Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna tell people a little bit of how you got into art and what made you start wanting to do that.
Oh, what made me want to start do art? Well, as you know, our dad did art and was a really good artist, and he quit, trying to take care of the family. My twin brother, he can draw really well, and we all like cartoons and comics and anime, and after keep watching comics and anime, you want to, see if you can draw it. And in high school, I started drawing, and I was voted the best female artist. Also had a male counterpart, and that's what got me into starting art. And about 4 years ago, I really took it serious because I kept getting pushed in the medical field, but I liked the human anatomy, but I never really liked the actual medical aspect of saving somebody's life because I was always scared of hurting someone's life. And I was watching Sister Act 2, and she said, if you wake up in the morning, you want to write, and all day all you think about is writing, then you're a writer. And everything she said applied to me in drawing. And so I started drawing. And on my wall.
That is great. And she is humble, but she will not let you guys know for some reason that everything on her wall is for sale. She does prints, commissions, custom art. I'm going to have to plug you a little bit. And she has a Cash App. Is it MrzFryz Art too? $ in the front?
Mm-hmm.
$ MrzFryz Art. And
I am everywhere. If you go somewhere and you think an artist might be, I'm probably there. Redbubble, Etsy, YouTube, TikTok.
Yes.
But everywhere, MrzFryz Art. I'm everywhere. It might be more so on Facebook or Instagram, and Twitter's where I like to talk. If you want to actually talk to me. But we look so much alike.
I said we should have been twins. Greg has said we look so much alike. I know, right? I didn't have my glasses on today.
Well, I am a twin, but you're not my twin.
I know, right? That's crazy. And but yeah, I just want to always introduce your art because some people wonder why it says MrzFryz Art at the end of your thing. And then if they go over to Instagram, they can see more of your pictures. Like you said, TikTok. Redbubble is your actual shop, and people can go there and directly buy. Greg did that too. Thank you very much for being supportive.
Yeah, one thing I thought was funny is that you were telling me that how I post my pictures, you can never tell that they're like big. They're like
yes. I was like, wow, DMX looks so huge. He said we should tell people he would have no problem believing that we're twins if he didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And I said maybe we should tell people, but your twin might get me.
Tell people that you're my age because I'm not saying that I'm older.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I would say I'm younger. But another part of you that we don't really focus much on because we talk about your art because you're a very good artist is that we need to talk about our time in the military. I am an Army vet and I did 5 years, but you're a Navy vet and you did 7.
I did 7. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, well, obviously you're my sister and you're the closest female vet that I know, but we have other female vets that we know. But it was a discussion on Tucker Carlson about women in combat, and then everybody went into this whole thing about whether women should serve and then women should start pregnant. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, my sister did both. She served for 7 years, and she served with my boo-boo Charlie, her oldest and only
Yeah.
boy. So I was like, let me just bring my sister on and we just shoot the breeze, because we talk all the time anyway. But we should just go ahead and talk
First of
about
all, to
that.
all those questions you answer is yes. And why wouldn't we? I think it's always crazy when someone says, "Oh, well, women shouldn't be in combat, or women shouldn't serve, or women shouldn't." It's like, why wouldn't we? That's more troops, more help, more support.
Why is it okay for our men to go out there and die and just be
And
bodies
as
stacking
mother
up?
of a son, I get so upset when people are like, "Oh, let the boy go fight," and I'm like, my son is just as precious to me as my daughter is. Or my 2 daughters actually, but I have 3.
Yeah,
But
I don't want
I
my
don't
son
get
or my
why
nephews and all my nieces not
I
like.
don't get why they think that women shouldn't serve, and I don't know. That's just where I'm at, and I'm glad that I live in a time where it's not an issue, and we were able to join.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to decide to go in the military, and then tell us a little bit how it was. You can tell the good, the bad, whatever you feel like talking about. I'm gonna just let this
Well,
be you.
I
You can
decided to
talk about
join
it.
because I'm a copycat. Rodney already signed up to join the army, and you had he had signed up to join the army, but I think he already switched over to the Marines by the time I decided to join. But he still had
Mhm.
school, and you had joined the army at 21, and after college went downhill, and I saw college going downhill because I'm crazy and tried to be a forensic chemist, and had all these chemistry classes, and saw college going downhill, and I was like, I'm not gonna wait till I'm 21 like Nikki did. I'm gonna go ahead and join now. Let's go ahead and nip in the butt and get it done. Get it done while I'm young. And I wanted to join the Air Force, but the Air Force was never at the recruiter station. I kept coming every day, and their door was always shut. And then the Navy was like, I was like, when the Air Force here? And they were like, I don't know why they're not here, but come talk to me. And the funny thing is I'm definitely afraid of the ocean, of like stuff in the ocean, and big swells and water. And I was like, being on a ship in the middle of the ocean is scary. But I don't know if it was God. It was God. It was definitely my dad. He said, "Don't worry about that." And 7 years was not ever in the ocean. So
Yeah, and that's what I try to say sometimes. I know some people have this adamant thing about women being in combat, or women, on the front lines and then shooting and stuff. And I'm like, people forget that there is other MOSs, or I don't know what you call y'all jobs, but there's other jobs in the
we
military.
call them
There's a lot
rates.
of rates, and
We
there's
call them
different
rates.
kind of jobs. Like I was an Army cook. Now, did I end up in kind of some weird situations? Yes, and that was because civilians really did my job. But you just have no idea where you're gonna get stationed at, what they're gonna have you do, and other things like that. So you end up having to decide where you want to be. Like my husband, he served, me and him was in the same, company, and we ended up serving the exact same unit, and him being a male didn't make a difference. So you don't
Right.
have to
Like I
go,
said,
you know.
like you said, they don't. You don't choose where you go, and that's kind of like a pet peeve I have when people always ask to talk about combat vets and stuff. And it's like combat vets are combat vets because the military sent them to be combat vets. Non-combat vets are non-combat vets because the military didn't send them there. Like, um,
And trust me, I don't think anybody would
your
be a combat vet if
your tour
you know.
your tour was way scarier than mine. I went to San Diego to a ship seagoing command, and they never sent me to sea. They sent me to Kuwait, but they never sent me to sea. And then I changed my job. I was aviation electrician's mate at first. And then I changed my job to
Yes, yeah.
corpsman, which is a medic, which I don't like the term medic, but it's the easiest for civilians to understand. And,
That's
and
because
I
it's
went to a
Army. I
hospital
don't know. Hmm.
in Bethesda, and I was there until I got out. So
You're from Maryland, so you was like, I'll do all this to come right back. So,
I
yeah,
actually
so
went
I
to two
guess
states. We lived in LA and Maryland, California and Maryland. Two places we lived.
now my thing is, I think people always think that there needs to be some distinction between the men serving and the women serving. When I feel like, me personally, that you can acknowledge the difference between men and women without um, downplaying the honorability of their service. You know, there are women pilots. There are some women that went through SEAL training. There's some that went through special forces. And yeah, we're going to struggle. I mean, it's not our fault. God made us different. And I think some people don't like seeing women in those kind of roles and everything. And it's like, don't look, I guess. I mean, like,
I
there are
feel
people who, oh, go ahead.
I feel like if you have the power, the mental capacity, and the know-how to do a position, you should be allowed to do a position. It's just more people to fill that position. Like you limited yourself when you say no women can do it. You're cutting off millions of people who could do that job for you.
Um,
That's how I
do
feel.
you think you had specific struggles in the military because of your gender, or do you think it's just because of who you are? Like, do you think this was just my own journey? It has nothing to do with my race or my gender. What do you think?
I feel like there's more struggles for women just based off just the way women differ from men. Um, like for PTYs, they would try to do like reverse height lines to where like men would run first. Women are just generally slower runners. Not saying that there's not some awesome women who could definitely kick a dude's butt, but expecting women to keep up with the men, I just felt like that was a little absurd at times, and just our push-ups and how we do everything is a little bit different because we have different bodies. Like they want you to go down in a push-up. If you have double D boobs, you're not going to go that close to the ground.
And I've
But
seen,
there's some movement, but it's gonna be different because
I think a lot of people don't
we
know
are
that there's
heavy.
also variations between men to men. Like my husband is 5'7". He ain't gonna be able to do everything like our friend that's 6'2". Like, but they're both guys and they're gonna both be expected. Like we know that there's some men with shorter arms, so when they do push-ups, they're not going as far down as the very lanky and tall guys who are out there,
Right.
like, or
And
the guys who are real tall and
I
running.
felt bad for
You know,
those kind of guys. I actually felt bad for those kind of guys who end up in like the fitness enhancement program because they were skinny and everybody's like, if you're skinny, why are you in here? And it's just because, like I said, you got to just think about the actual physical mechanics of it when you do things like that. That's why some people say women shouldn't serve. I don't think we shouldn't serve. I just think you should just, understand that there's a difference in how things can be done. Like, I know that when we were doing certain exercises, some of the men actually hated them more because women are more tailored to our lower half. So, like, ab
yes.
exercises
Hmm.
and lower back exercises were actually easier for the females than they were for the males. Even the SEAL males were struggling with those type of exercises. So,
I think
I
some
think
people.
it's just really. I think women being in the military is great. It's awesome. I just think that some things they put too much focus on it, but in some areas and not enough focus in other areas. Like the uniform, there's no need for there to be a male and female uniform. Females can wear the exact same thing males wear. I never understood why there was so much different uniforms, but
Well,
they
I do
actually starting
know.
to change that now.
And I do know a
So
few Marine that are women. I say Marine. I don't differentiate and say female Marine, male Marine. I just say you a Marine, you're Marine, or you're a soldier, soldier, you're a sailor,
mm,
you're a sailor. I don't differentiate. But I do know that in the Marine Corps, they wear the same, the enlisted drill sergeants wear the exact same thing. They wear the same hat, they wear a different one. But in the Army, they don't. And they had a chance to change it and wear the same one, and the women didn't want to. And I think that that's because they wanted to have their own special, we work for this and this is what we got. And I wonder if that dichotomy between women and men serving is the same thing between blacks and whites serving, because a lot of people try to say something about the MOS I picked, which was a cook, because that was the only MOS that a lot of Black people could pick at the beginning of, when they started first allowing Black people to serve. And a lot of things people don't know is Black people have been serving since the beginning of the Army. People actually begged George Washington himself to let Black people serve, and it was 5,000 Black guys who served in the Revolutionary Army. And then women trickled in, and now we have LGBT and their rights, and we have transgender and everything.
So are you saying that people are saying that that's not a good thing that you chose to MOS?
Oh yeah, some people were mad. It's like, you Black, you gonna serve the country, and you gonna pick the MOS, only that. And I'm just like, it's my job, and I love to eat, and I love to feed people, and the Army runs on their belly. Like, I don't care what job you have, you're gonna be at the galley, you're gonna be at the defect, you're gonna be at the chow hall, you're
that's
gonna
where
be
people, like I said, people get too involved in certain topics. Like, are you female? Are you Black? Are you like, you should be freedom to choose, and the freedom to choose to be what you want. Like, I saw this picture, and they said this woman was strong, and it was she looked like a strong woman because she had smaller boobs and no hips, and it really upset me because it was saying that women with big hips and boobs, and that is sexy to what a sex symbol is, are trying to be sexy, and that's not necessarily the case either. It's just that's how they're made. And for the race thing that you were saying, that you chose to be a cook, I just think that you should have the right to choose whatever your job meet, even if it does fit a stereotype. Like, I am technically, until I actually get some some business really going, I'm technically a stay-at-home mom, but that's what I choose to do. Like, you should choose to do that. That's your,
and it's funny when you tell people, they say
choice.
People say what you do for a living. You say stay at home mom, but they don't know by seeing you, or because you look a certain way. They don't know that, girl, I got 2 combat tours under my belt. I served in Iraq. It was hot. I did all the day. I carried the weapons. It was funny when I went to sergeant school. The infantry, I had a squad where it was just mostly infantry guys. It's just how it worked out when we were sitting in class. So when we went to do the field problem, they thought it was funny to give me the heavy weapon because they do it all the time. Not because I was female, not because of that. They were just like, we carry this all the time. We don't really need this training. This is basically what we do, is training, because we infantry. You can have this. Your support. You probably need this more than us. And it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, when else I'm going to carry a heavy weapon? Like, that was my assigned weapon for deployment. So I was happy. I was like feeling like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator. Like, like, I mean, it was blanks, but still, it was fun. So that's the type of stuff you sign up for. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about what you said about them not knowing that you had 2 combat tours on your belt because you say stay at home mom. I was just thinking about, like, people just need to change the view. I just think people just need to change their views. Like, people have gone so long seeing things as a certain thing that they can't change their views. Like, the veterans parking spot. They think that it's always going to be, a male coming out of that parking spot.
Oh, they walk to my husband sometimes to shake him.
There's Black women serve. And then if it's a veteran, they're going to be hurt. They're probably going to be fat. And it's not because veterans are unhealthy. It's because we spent so many years with the military focus and telling us what to eat, what not to eat, what to exercise, not to exercise. But you just want to just relax and eat that cheeseburger. And then after a while, the pounds come.
Yeah, you ate too many cheeseburgers. Yeah.
It's the mental game that you have to play for so many years that that happens. And I think that people just need to change what their definition is. Because, like, I had a friend, she's like 5'3" and real skinny, and her husband or boyfriend, I can't remember where he was at the time, was wearing her army shirt, and the guy said, "Thank you for your service," and she said, "You're welcome," and walked off because her husband never served. He was wearing her shirt that day. He just chose to put her shirt on that day, and they just assumed. Well, I want to say that they assumed because he was the one wearing it, but she said, "I had to say you're welcome because I'm the one who served, so he's really thinking me." And because a lot of people will just assume that it's just
sometimes it works. Sometimes it does work. I was gonna say sometimes it does work out. Like if we go out on Veterans Day or something, and I don't feel like being bothered because maybe I'm dealing with the kids or whatever, and then they just walk over their way, and I'm like, yes, they didn't know that was a veterans. So sometimes I kind of
this
So
little
I kind
outfit
of
and
get
they
out
give you
of.
a hat and they're like, "Thank you for your service," and you're like, you feel. I feel like the military did so much good for my life that I feel like I should be thanking the military for letting me serve. So when I hear "Thank you for your service," I'm like, "Thank you
Or
for
some of the jokes are
your
tailored
service."
towards
That's what I
men
say.
too. There's this joke that says "Thank you for your cervix," because we always joking with each other because we all serve, so we don't really. I don't know. We feel weird about it, so we joke and say "Thank you for your cervix," and I'm saying somebody say thank you for my cervix." I'm like, oh no.
Ooh, that's grody.
And then we had
Uh,
yeah, and then we had our children
that's
at a
creepy.
military hospital too. So I'm like, wait, did I serve? Like, and then one of the cutest things about 82nd and them jumping out of planes is that they said "gift from above" when Nick was born. In the 82nd hospital, so it looked like a little parachute on his baby stuff. So I always thought that was
Well,
kind of cute.
I worked at Walter Reed, and they
Oh,
say
the
the
hospital,
president's
hospital.
hospital. Yeah, they put your baby was born in the president's hospital. That's what they put on your baby stuff. Yeah, I'm really grateful for being able to serve. And like when I hear like people say should women serve, or what if they're pregnant? Be pregnant. Be pregnant. We worked until we popped. And I worked in OBGYN, and I don't think I've ever met a patient. Um, well, we had, spouses that were patients too, but I don't think I never met an active duty patient that, complained,
My
that
friend
didn't,
was on the way to work.
didn't.
She was on her way to work, and I had got out, but I lived in the same area. We didn't move yet because I was gonna have the baby. And my friend who was pregnant with me, she was on her way to
Mhm.
work and formation at 6:30, but she started feeling the contractions, so she turned her car around and said, "I gotta go to the hospital." So she was on her way, and I don't know if I agree with with like if you find out, like say you on a plane and then you land and you do a test and you find out you're pregnant, I think you should go back. And not because it's a special thing or anything, but the stress of just being away from home and the stress of combat and the stress of it's just taxing. I had a miscarriage in the military. And I don't blame the military, but I do believe that the stress I was under helped that a little bit. And I'm not saying women couldn't have miscarriage if they weren't doing nothing or anything like that. Or I don't blame the army for it. It's just I think it was for the safety of the mother and the baby. And it's a lot easier if you just stateside. You do your nine
What is
months.
that? Oh, that you shouldn't be on deployment, or you should be stateside when you have your baby? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think you should be in the middle of because what if some shit pops off? Or I think maybe if you are deployed and maybe you hooked up with somebody, God forbid, and then you get pregnant in the middle of it. It depends on what you're doing. If you're a FOBIT, maybe, but I just think it's kind of
For
risky
me,
mission. I don't know. It depends. I think it depends on what you're doing.
were you on mission when you got pregnant? Is that why you're talking about mission?
No, but that's the reason. I didn't segue into the question, but the reason was I think the military was deciding to the military was deciding to actually allow combat for pregnant women. Usually the rule used to be if you become pregnant, you can't go, and then you're on non-deployable status, meaning your unit will go without you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened when I was pregnant with Nicholas. I was deployed, so I didn't go to Afghanistan, and my unit just went to Afghanistan without me. And but now I think the news was saying that the military is going to change that, and I think it's because a lot of females be getting pregnant, so they don't end up going. So they was like, "Yeah, got you, girl. Now you going now." Like I think that's what some people was fighting with. Don't ask, don't tell. We don't care. You can still
To
go, and we
me,
don't care who you love.
for
You
me,
still
when I
going.
was pregnant, I was with the Navy. I was with the Navy calls on shore duty, which means I was stateside, or
We just say
I
suicide.
guess there's overseas shore duties, but I was stateside. After being pregnant as a civilian, because I have 3 kids, but after being pregnant as a civilian, I have to say that I think just pregnancy itself is a stressful time. And being in the military does add a little bit more, just because the military is more work, I would say. Not that the military is hard per se. I'm just saying that it's um, you're a little bit more responsible in the military. So because
Julian
you're a
came
little
in and
bit
said
more
hi.
responsible.
Say hi to Julian.
Hey, Julian. It's a little bit more responsible in the military, so you feel a little bit more desire to get your job done, so you focus more on that. But at the same time, um, being I was at a hospital both times I was pregnant, and I had the baby at the hospital I was working at both times. So for me, I was still both times I was able to leave work and go to my doctor's appointment, and then come back to the whatever unit I was working on. But I feel like I was equally stressed in both positions, and I don't feel like the military was any harder on my pregnancy.
Oh, look at that, Connie. He said he's gonna contact you for some campaign art. Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Well,
I'll make sure I put that on there.
my DMs are open. Just go ahead and message me, and we'll chat about it.
Uh, I,
But But like I said, I had no problem being pregnant in the military. I would say the military was harder on me when I wasn't pregnant, and being pregnant in the military actually afforded me some I think liberties that I didn't have when I was a civilian
yeah, we
pregnant.
don't want to tell them the good
Work,
stuff like that
working
comfy uniform.
working as a civilian while pregnant, the military had more liberties. I think I would have to say, because
Yeah, I
you
don't
can
want to tell
delegate a
everybody
lot.
the goodies of being
When you're
pregnant
in
in
the
the
military,
military. 'Cause that uniform.
You can delegate. You can delegate what you need to delegate, but when you're because you always have people below you in the military. But when you're a civilian, you have your position and you have your job to do, and that's pretty much your
That's the
job.
only thing I can't
So
tell
that's for
because
you to do.
I got out like around 4 or 5 months. So I can't tell if the way I was acting was really the pregnancy or me being a first time mom. And I was more worried because, like I said, I had the miscarriage and everything. So I don't know if it was me more than it was just me being pregnant. Like, would I have been the same NCO if I wasn't? And I was starting to get
Right,
into
and
this
that's why I think
idea of, I was in that mindset that I knew I was done with the military too. So I was acting a little bit different than somebody who like wants to stay in for 20 years or whatever like
well,
that.
me, I never said I was gonna. I never said I was gonna get out the military. My whole thing was that I'm gonna
Yeah.
stay in as long as they let me stay in. I knew that I was gonna get the boot. I already knew that it was gonna be something that make me get booted out.
um
And as you can see with these cheeks, it was the weight limit. That was like,
but I
but
think
after I had my son, I couldn't get back down to the required weight limit, so I ended up getting out because of that.
let, I
But
want to tell y'all something funny because I remember my board for NCL. I don't know how the other branches do it, but you got to sit in front of these high-ranking people and they ask you questions and stuff. And it made me realize how sometimes stuff is different from male and females. Like our PT, they make you do this many push-ups or that. And then I was thinking in there, I was like, I did what the military told me to do. So if they said, hey, because you're a girl, you got to do this many, that's how many I was trying to do. And it wasn't because I was scared to do above that or nothing like that, because I did max out sometimes. But it was like, it's not my
well, the
fault that
military.
they focused on that more than I did. I wasn't worried. I mean, as far as standards go, I was like, yeah, wear your hair like this, do that. But I was not thinking, I'm a girl, I'm a girl, I'm a girl all the time. I wasn't, you
Mm.
know. Mm-mm.
The Navy. I don't know about the Army, but the Navy doesn't really focus on you being a female or male very often. It only comes up in times where it actually matters that you're a female. Like when I was in boot camp, that's when I learned how to swim. They would be like, "Oh, if you're on your cycle, use patches, plugs, not patches," is what they would say. Because the Navy has its own terminology, but they would never like
Mm-hmm.
really focus on you being a female over a male
I
until
felt like
I
that did
think
not
until it
matter.
really I think until it really mattered that you were a female. In certain situations, it does matter that you're a female. I think that's the only time that it would
The only time you could tell is when I was running
even
behind
for
my husband
how
because
you
I was
use
falling down.
how you use the PRT qualifications, you can always do more. Like they always had a minimum
Yeah.
number, but they never had a maximum number. You can always do more push-ups or sit-ups or run
And
faster
everybody
than they tell
knows
you to
that
do.
high speed female or that high speed male. Like, I don't understand when people talk about the difference between men and women serving. They always act like all the men are the same. Like, there's not a variation between, what the guys can do. Like, we had this guy that you see sometimes on my Facebook. He's a good friend of me and my husband because we all was in the same unit. And he looks like the Juggernaut actor from the first X-Men. and he's a sweetheart, but he is huge. And I remember one time when we was pretending to be deployed, we wasn't actually deployed. He was shot, and Sergeant told us, "Hey, you can't just leave your buddy there. We Army, Army for one. Go get him." And I felt, bless his heart, I still feel bad all these years later because he was heavy, and we had to drag him, and I didn't see the men lifting him any better than I did. I already knew when he fake died. I was like, oh no, we think gonna make us carry him. But we got him over there, and even if we met today and was just drinking beers or whatever, I would still apologize because we drug him so. They said get him over there. They didn't say it had to be nice. So I always think it's interesting when people want to talk about the differences of men and women in the military, but it's different in degrees. Like just like some people have officers they don't like, and then they have officers that they love, and it's some people that make you want to punch them in the face, and then it's people that make you love to serve your country. So it's different degrees of service, and I just think the conversation always goes back to men versus women, and I always think that is always weird to me because I'm like, am I a woman first, or am I black first? Am I a soldier first, or a mother first? It's like I saw Julian talking about earlier how they try to
I
make you
feel like in the
split up your
military,
identity.
I feel like I wasn't prejudiced against about being a woman. I feel like I wasn't prejudiced about being black. I feel like I was prejudiced against about being fat.
Yes. That was the most thing. Like you was more worried about, dang, we gotta run in the morning. Like, forget me being a girl, forget me being black. I don't feel like I don't feel like
Because I
running.
know when you're
That is so
required to
funny.
do you're required to do PT 3 times a week, so you have to leave your job, and a lot of people don't really like that you get to leave and go, work out while you're
I'm like, you
still
could come run
doing the
with this
job.
vest on up this hill with me. Like, come on.
And it's time to give out the EP, and they're like, "Oh no, you don't get it. You're fat. You're not getting the EP. You don't exercise." And it's like, I do, but you're fat. I mean, this is how our family is. So, but some people aren't.
Even
So
when we
I
was
think
our smallest, we looked alike. So I just thought it was like when Greg was saying how we looked alike. And a lot of stuff is genetics too. Like, I mean, I made the standard, but I'm not gonna lie. Anybody who like if this gets out in the atmosphere and people be like, oh, I knew her in the military, they're gonna know that I struggle with mine too. So to hear you have a sister that was in the Navy that was struggling? Yeah, because Philly was struggling too. Like that's probably gonna be the main thing they
Oh,
remember. Is, I didn't
anybody
even
who
know
ever
that
served
because
with
you
me
was
in the
always in the back
military,
somewhere. Cause
they will tell you. And I was always in that enhanced program in school, at my command, in both commands in Kuwait. Anywhere I was always there. Hello.
hey, how you doing? Hello. Thanks for joining us. This is Mrs. Pinky Thoughts. I'm your host, Mrs. Pinky, and you're listening to my blood sister, Mrs. Fryz Art. I always have to say that because some people think that I just be saying sis or girlfriend, like some women do that. But I guess you can see between the features that we are really blood sisters, and she's the sibling
Yes,
that
we
we
come from the
sibling that
same
claim each other.
vagina.
So
Did you hear me? I said we came from the same vagina.
same vagina, same
And mom would be
vagina.
like, why does
No, mommy, she'll say she pushed you and square head out, your twin. I mean, I love this kind of twin, so I could be a few years younger. But yeah, and dad, he was such an amazing artist, and to see how I always say this, and I'm not trying to. I love my brother's art too. They just not doing nothing with it. They doing their own thing. But to see that it's the sister that's doing it, and to see that you're the one who took dad's dream, because dad gave up his dream for us, and to see that you took his dream, and I know that you be talking to him, even sometimes getting advice from him, and you taking it and look at this, like look at that Master Jerome behind you. That thing is huge. I didn't even know some of your artwork. And can you show everybody again your DMX that you did? Do you have them right there? Your DMX that you had? Because I love it. I was so like sad because it looks so much like him, and I'm like, oh, DMX time, and that is just so awesome. And I'm like, I will promote anybody who's showing their talent. So I love when I find out somebody can sing. I'm like, oh, here you go sing. They're like, no. I'm like, sing. You can sing. You can draw. My husband can paint. Like, I love seeing people, go after what their thing is and what they're good at.
I'm still not really sure what my talent is. I feel like I just like to if I like to keep seeing something, seeing it a lot, I like to put it on paper. So like some people like to make up their own characters from their head. I don't think that's who I am. I think I like to if I see it. So like that's why I do a lot of anime because I watch a lot of anime. Like all this stuff back here, you could ask me about any of these shows. I've seen it. You know, that's over here is X Men and Dragon Ball Z. I watch all that stuff, and then um like these portraits I do, I just really like them, and so I just wanted to try drawing them. So um,
But yeah, I was just trying to
I
get you
find
on.
it fun to put it on paper. I find it fun to put represent something 3D onto paper. I think it's very fun, and I think that's probably what keeps me going, and that's why I have so many like different things that I do, and I don't really stay in one lane. I do digital, I do color pencil, I do cartoons, I do it all.
I just want to throw it out there a little bit. I don't want to talk too much about it because this isn't a Marvel chat, and I was gonna do maybe a chat with you or with some other people when we see the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier. But how do you think about their um, portrayal of not just Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, but how do you feel about her portrayal as an airman, as someone in the military? Because I feel like when they do military people, they got two kinds. They got the overzealous, over the top, overachieving person, or they got the bumbling Gomer Pyle person who barely makes it and always screwing up or something like that. Did you feel like her portrayal of a female veteran was accurate, or do you think that was just her character and that's how they portrayed her? Well, what do you think about that? About Captain
I
Marvel?
I think they can just portray her that way because the military isn't a thing. It's people. It's people living their lives. So if she's got to stick up her butt, she's gonna have to stick up her butt and be in the military. Like I feel like her portrayal is just how she portrays that character. I do have an issue with people thinking that military people are all serious all the time. Like I said, we're
Yeah,
people. I felt like the military was more like high school with jobs. Like it was like you had your job, you did what you
well, a
had to
lot of us
do,
are around that
and then
age.
you
Like
were
I was
chill.
21.
You were doing stupid stuff. Like you can go online, you can look on YouTube, and you can see all the music videos that the military people make when they're bored on a ship or on deployment. Like there's a lot of fun and silly aspects. Like we did the first deployment. They did the cinnamon challenge before they left, where you eat the spoonful of cinnamon. Like
Yeah,
that's the only problem that I have with the way people depict military people is like they're all serious and
I
mean
do
all the
see
time.
sometimes. I don't know, was Hurt
Like
Locker?
not
I can't
Falcon
think of
and
the name
Winter
of the movie.
Soldier, but um Wanda WandaVision, when they went into Sword, which I don't know if they're supposed to be military or like a civilian, like FBI thing, but
It's
it
supposed to
felt
be
like
a
it was
secret
military.
espionage. Mm-hmm.
The guy on the desk, he was like, "Well, if you work till your car would work," like he was so
Rah, rah,
mean to
rah.
him. I was like, "I worked front desk in the military. My husband worked front desk as a civilian, and no front desk person who's ever worked anywhere where you had to badge in would say that because they know that's not true. If you had to badge in, you would just send them to the place where the badges get fixed. So like I was just like, why do they always depict them as mean? That's my only issue. Like there
Yeah,
are
like
mean
that's why
people,
I have a hard
but
time
just not. It's not a
describing.
broad thing.
I have a hard time describing
That's
deployment sometimes because, like, our first deployment was more serious. We was getting bombed, we was getting attacked, but we also have downtime, and you gotta do something during your downtime. So we played softball, we played football, we had grills, and we grilled out.
I won an
And then
iPod in a raffle when I was on deployment.
the second deployment, we had a mission, but it was like we were drawing down, and I think um, President Obama was getting ready to bring everybody back. So nobody really knew what we was doing. So it was honestly a waste of time. A lot of people say that they don't even count that deployment um, as a deployment. So somebody said, "What brand is your wig?" And I'm like, neither one of us have on wigs. Those I
So
don't
it's a
know
wig.
who. Yeah, it says, "What brand is your wig?" And I said, "Who
This is
has a wig?"
100% my hair locks.
And my hair is just under
Locks.
this. under this headband. I wear this too much. Yeah, I'm gonna do my hair a different
But
for
we're au
so no, you can
natural.
actually see that it's a lot under here.
Au natural.
Oh, natural. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna go full locks or not. But
Well,
that's another thing
I
about
don't
getting out
consider
the
natural
military.
anymore.
Yes,
I
there's
don't consider natural anymore because I did that. But
well, natural is considered your actual hair texture. Dyeing is temporary,
yeah.
so you're still considered natural. But I just thought it was funny because I don't really know how to even put on lace fronts or none of the wigs and how the girls be gluing it. I don't know how to do none of that. I'm so a soldier when it comes to like not
Oh,
being
that
girly.
reminds
I mean,
me.
I got a dress
Maybe
on
you
right
were.
now today, but I still feel like I'm not girly.
We were talking about the military and
Oh yeah,
females
yeah, yeah. Go
and
ahead.
their rules being different from male. Hair care is one aspect where yes, female and males are different. And I remember one time I had my bun on and my sergeant was like, "Your bun looks good. I bet it's got that sock in it." Yeah, I know about the sock. And I said, "Let me blow your mind once more." And I took the bun completely off
It was a fake one.
because it was a fake bun.
It was fake.
And
Yeah. Black
he
girls,
was
we
so
always got
shocked.
tricked.
He was like, "I've seen it all now. I've seen it all of it."
The funniest thing
That
ever is when the
yeah.
guy thinks your hair is nice and he does that and you're like, oh my god, he gonna feel the clip. It's coming out.
Oh, because in the military, you can't have the like the little I haven't got no hair, ponytail thing. You can't have
So you
that.
was going between
And
grooves.
and before these locks, I could never get my hair to grow because I was always manipulating it, trying to pull it back and make it neat.
Um,
And so I could never get my hair to really
as a
grow
black female soldier, I've
long.
had that issue. I think they're past that now because of their regulation changes. But when I was in, there were certain things you couldn't do to your hair. And so sometimes I would come to work and they'd be like, that's not red, go change it. You're like, God. And then you come back. And then like when I had got my hair cut by our sister-in-law, right, everybody loved it when it was cut. But when it started growing, oh, it was like I was trying to slick it down with gel. I was trying to, it wasn't enough for a ponytail. I was putting stuff in it and it was like, take them out. It was a nightmare when my hair started to grow back. And so that was one thing. I mean, I know men deal with how to make their hair go a certain, tapered look and the fade, and because I had male soldiers too. So, but that's another reason why veterans do a whole lot of tattoos and a whole lot of stuff when they get out or when they get in, is because we have control over our bodies again and we can
Oh,
do whatever
especially
we want.
tattoos. They had a
So
rule that it can be bigger than your hands, and it can be visible when you're out of uniform. So like PT gear is still uniform. So like you have it on your arms and your own legs, it would like you would
and
get in
they get
trouble if you didn't
out
have a
and
chip.
that full sleeve going all the way down and stuff like. But yeah, so we can talk forever because we're sisters. But we so we'll be on here all day. Y'all be like, man, it's 12 o'clock. But we've been talking for an
Yeah,
hour
they'd be
just
like
with.
they jumping all over the place because we're sisters. That's how we
Yeah, so
talk.
the topic was about us being women in the military, and I did want my sister to talk about her art a little bit because people always wondering. And I remember when you first started, people thought that your name was like my second page on Twitter and stuff that had me dying, or then people thought that I was being you. And I don't know. I used to be called a white man on Twitter a long time ago, so that's a whole nother story for because they don't think about conservatives sometimes being black women or whatever. So they thought I was a Mr. Spinky instead of Mrs. Pinky. So I went through this
I've been
whole
called a
thing.
white woman before, but never a white man.
Yeah, they thought I don't know. It was some organization that said some white people hide behind black avatars and things like that. So it was funny when people thought that I was making up that you were my sister and things like that. So I like whenever I can get you on to be on and then we could talk about whatever. But so you said that if someone wants to reach you, you're on all of the platforms. You're on TikTok. You're on Facebook. You're on.
TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm losing one. YouTube. I was
Oh
hoping
yeah,
to
you
try to
can
lose them.
YouTube,
YouTube,
Patreon.
Redbubble. If you have Redbubble, you can message me there. Redbubble. Yeah,
If you're
Patreon. I
on
have Patreon too.
store, Shopify, Etsy, you can cash app her a couple dollars to MrzFryz Art with $ in the front. You want to support small businesses because small businesses are taking it on the chin right now due to this pandemic.
Extremely,
And
extremely small
if y'all
business.
want people extremely small, and if you want people to be picking it up by their bootstraps, you gotta give them some boots to work with first. So, but yeah, I was trying to get all
I might get enough for the shoestrings.
And if y'all want to contact me, I'm part of the consciousconservativemedia.net. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. And we'll see you next time. I don't know if we're going to do this every day because I know certain people have podcasts on Sunday, but I didn't see them posting nothing, so I'm not trying to step on other podcasts. But we'll see. Maybe we make this a regular thing. I don't know, a Miss and Miss show or something. I don't know. But thank you guys for joining us on Miss Pinky Thoughts, and we'll see you next time.